Welcome to Today at Work On, and today I'm going to go over how we install two, not one, Nuheat flooring mats. I have a video on how I install this, but this is going to be more of a cleaner video, but we're doing two mats, so I wanted to do a video on doing two mats. So the first thing is you have to check your ohms. So let's take a look right here. So on the one mat, we have 133 ohms, and then on the second mat, we have 100 ohms. You got to take a ohm tester and you're gonna test it like this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna twist the black wire to the red, and I'm gonna go to the red probe, and let's see what it's gonna read. This is super important. You gotta check this as soon as you get the mat to make sure that you don't have a problem. So what do we have? We have 130.5. The mat says 133, so that's perfect. The other mat is 100, so let's check that one. So, I mean, you could go, it doesn't matter which way you go, black to black, red to red. If you have clamps, it'd make life easier, but none of these probes ever come with clamps. So this one, 105, as long as you're within 10%, that's fine. Your second test is you got to check for open line. So you want to take your probe, leave it on the red side, and take the ground, and you're going to I usually just stab it like this, and then I check. When we have an open line, that means the ground is not touching one of the red or black lines inside of the mat. So I know that's good. And now we're going to go to the black side, again, pop it off the red, and then check for ohms again. And we have open line. So that's good. I'm going to do that again on that other mat. But that is the first step. Document it for warranty purposes, which I think is actually worthless. So the next step is figuring out where you're going to put your two mats. So let's talk about that. You got to make sure both of your lines make it to where you're going to put your thermostat, which our thermostat's going to be right here. These lines do make it. Now, if you have the lines like say they're over here and you need to run it over to there, you got to run it down into conduit junction box, and then you got to run it up and over to your thermostat. I don't recommend doing that. The instructions say don't do it. So if you want, try to keep both of your lines running as close as you can so the ground is shielded and everything's good to go. After that, you figure out where you're going to have your mats in the proper space. We have to lay it down with a thin set mortar, and this is something you don't mess around with. So if you have a Lowe's nearby, go get some Schluter all set, and we're going to set the mats like we're doing a Dietrich membrane. So let's get into that. So there's two types of mixes here. We're going to do the one for setting membrane. So I'm going to make this whole 50-pound bag, and you'll see why. And it's 6 to 7 quarts. I always split the difference. I go 6.5 quarts. And we're going to mix the whole 50-pound bag in, and let's get that going now. All right, the next step is dumping all that water, and that's going to be 6.5 quarts. And we're going to dump this whole 50-pound bag in. It makes it. When you mix Schluter, they want it on slow speed. I just did 2 pieces of blue tape just to mark where it's going to go. So after 5 more minutes, we're going to mix that for 3 more minutes. I'm not going to video that. And then we're going to prep to put down the Nuheat mat. So we'll start working on that. The next step is I marked both corners with blue tape. I'm just going to pull it back. That should be enough. And now we're going to wet the substrate. So we'll wet it. Not too much, no puddles, because you don't want it too wet. Now, the cement board really sucks up moisture quickly, but it's still way better than Hardy Backer. It's already drying. Now we have to put down the inset. So let's get the all set. Now the next step is to use the all set, put it down, 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch notch trowel. You can use a V-notch trowel if you're brave. But I'm not brave because I've seen, it's funny, I just had an Instagram reel that was, the guy's like, make a soupy mix for the all set and use a V-notch trowel on on Schluter membrane, and I was like, people are asking for issues. So we're going to put this down, and we're going to start trying it out. That's how you want it to look. Oh, I tell you, offset feels so good in the hand. There's nothing like it. And also, you want to come past a little bit where you think the mat's going to finish, because remember the mat is your substrate now. If it's loose, the tile's going to be loose when you lay it. That looks really good. I'm going to pull this tape off so I can see my corners, like nice and crisp and clear. There you go. That was a good idea. Now we're going to place the Nuheat mat down. Get the wire out of the way. Make it tight. No. Alright, to you a little bit. Alright, you can start on this side. Do not lay this side down. And now you're going to work off the one side. Oh, you can feel how well it's sticking. I'm going to work my way over here.
Keep pulling this up.
What? Yeah, go up. So it's nice to have two people to do this. If you have one, you can just work on one side and work your way over. But I can already feel how good this is sticking. You just know over time, like with experience. You don't want to push too hard. You just want to make sure it's flat. We'll go over the adhesion in a minute. But now I'm just going to take a big route stroke and push down. You're going to do this the whole way. This feels really good. Like, I'll show you what the adhesion looks like in a minute. But let me finish just hitting all these wires and bedding it in. And this is why I feel like using a 1/4 inch trowel just makes so much more sense than the V-notch. Just clean up the motor around the mat, just so you can see, make sure it's nice and flat. So I'm going to work on that, and I'll show you what it looks like with the finished product. Let's do an adhesion test. Oh yeah. Look at that. That does not want to come up at all. That's what you want to see. Right now we're just opening up a notch for the line to get into the wall. So it's going to go flat. Also for the temperature probe, we're going to have to make another little notch, like out to here, and then come this way, and we have to place it probably, it's about 16 inches in right here. So that's going to be the next notch. It just sits flat on here. Let's work on that. This looks really good. I sponged it down. It looks nice. We're going to put in the next mat. While Dee is working on notching that out, I'm going to prep this mat. The reason why I did these two mats was one over here. I have my kitchen, dishwasher, stove, oven. So when we're working here and it's 5 degrees outside, it's going to be nice and toasty underneath our feet. Also, the second reason why is those two banks of windows, that's the outside of the house, obviously, and that's where our table's going to go with the dining room area. It'll be nice and toasty when we're having breakfast, so we don't feel, regardless on how well you're insulated, if it's 0 degrees outside, and I have these windows kind of open, that cold air is going to infiltrate a little bit, and I don't want that. So that, we just cleaned around all the corners, and now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to run these lines over here into the thermostat, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to check it again. So we already cut out these two lines. So this line is for the actual heat, and then this line that's going to go here is going to be a temp probe that I'm going to stick right in the middle of the two heat lines. So let's start working on that. I'm running 2 temp probes because in case one fails, then I have another one. So right here, you want to check ohms on this. This was like around 15.8 to 15.9 on both. So that means I know both probes are working. The next step is we're gonna run both of these lines through a conduit that I put in because this is a new construction. If you have an old work situation, you're gonna have to make some holes like from here down, run conduit up and run a feed. This is a 240 line. So that's another thing we're gonna go over. It's not 120, it's 240. So what we're gonna do now is I know that this mat is with the blue tape over here, and I'll have more slack, and this one's gonna be shorter. So we're gonna run all 4 of these lines up at once. So let's start working on that. All right, we're gonna feed this up. It's a little tight, but we're gonna go slow and steady. And it should pop out just nice and easy. It's not that, if you have the conduit in there, it's an easy run. But code requires you to have it in conduit.
Wait, hold up. That's all you got. At least with this one.
Let me see. Oh, okay, we can pull it. Oh, geez, really? Woo. All right, so we pulled it up. We're gonna have to get crafty with that one line. We ran our lines. This one was close. You see this one's sticking up still? I might have to like do something about that. She does not want to stay down there, but she is ready to go. You can see the mat's in good shape. I got my probe a good 16 to 24 inches inside the mat. That's 1, and that is 2. This will be my main probe. This will be my backup probe, just in case I have one failure. I checked my ohms, they all look good. So this is my blue one, which I know is the longer one, which makes sense. This one just made it. So, whew, really close, but that's fine. That'll work. So we're gonna tape a little piece of metal tape there, and then we're gonna mortar all this in. So I put a little pieces of metal tape because they come right up, but it's super sticky, the true metal tape. I am not gonna mortar that, but I can mortar it so it stays in place, and I could come back and finish the rest of the mortar when I'm actually doing tile. But we'll put a couple more pieces of the sticky tape on, and we're gonna start filling it in. Usually I would cover this with another coat of thin set and make it super skinny, but I've learned that it actually brings up the tile, and I get like a bump off the edge of the Nuheat mat. And the directions does say do not cover it, but if you're doing like a laminate or a vinyl planking, they say to cover it. So keep that in mind. If you're not doing a ceramic tile, make sure you cover it. The next step on this is check your ohms. I've already checked my ohms. They're all good every which way. I have open lines on the 2 probes. I have my 130 on the one mat, and I have the 100 on the other. You know, make sure you save these little guys. What I usually do is I throw those into the box in here, so I have it for future reference. As you can see, on the 240, I'm drawing 1.8 amps, and then I'm drawing 2.4 amps on this one. So keep that in mind. So I'm drawing a total of not many amps here, which is nice because it'll be good heat. The next part of this video is going to be hooking up both of the lines on the 240 side. Remember, this is not 120, it's 240.